the Emo Hour. Your weekly power hour of all things emo and adjacent. With your hosts, Katie and Nani.
Hello and welcome to the Emo Hour. This is your host, Nani, and my good friend, Katie.
Hi.
Hi.
And look out, listeners, for some visuals to accompany this episode, we hope, because I've been on the struggle bus a little bit with my laptop and thought that something had gotten completely messed up with my laptop camera, and it's a work computer. So I emailed our IT guy at work, and he pointed out that I just have a slider above my camera that, like, for privacy. So I can, block it off and open it up at any time.
Turns out you are a tech-savvy woman.
Oh my gosh. You feel like you're smart and doing good in life, and then something like that happens. And I just responded and said, I feel like a complete idiot. I have never intentionally used that. I've had this laptop for a couple years, so I've never intentionally blocked the camera.
You know what I hear when you tell me this?
What?
You just discovered a new feature of your laptop after 2 years.
Yes. And luckily, the tech guy was very nice. He was like, it happens. You're not the first one to do this. He's like, a lot of people just think it's part of a closing latch, which is exactly what I thought it was. But that's a large reason why we haven't had video the last couple episodes. So hopefully this time we do.
It's so good.
So,
You can't get mad at that.
Yes.
You can't get mad.
So follow us on Instagram and TikTok at the Emo Hour, because TikTok's back.
TikTok's back.
It's gone for 12 hours, but it's back.
Thank God. Those 12 hours were really rough for me.
And hopefully we will have some video to go with our podcast.
Love that. Well, should we get into it?
We should get into it.
So, Katie, what's making you emo this week?
So, despite my chipper opening, today's a little heavy for me. And this is something I was kind of hesitant to talk about for many reasons, but it's like, I think I can do this and get through it okay. So I will. And it's something that relates to a lot of people. So I think it's worthwhile talking about. But today, the day of recording, is January 21st. So it's the day before we release the episode. And today is my brother's birthday, who passed away a few years ago. So it's just been kind of a heavy day. It's just weighing on me a little bit. And my brother, Sean, he was 2 years older than me. So he would have been 38 this year, today. And he passed away very unexpectedly, complete total surprise shock to us all, in November of 2021, and from an undiagnosed liver problem. He had cirrhosis, which we didn't find out until after he passed. We had no idea that he was sick at all. And he, just passed away. Some people call it the silent killer. If you don't know you have it, or if you do, you often don't make the life changes necessary to get through it. Or getting a liver transplant is often the way to get around it. And there's no guarantees that that's going to happen, for one, or that that's going to fix it for you. So cirrhosis is usually attached, or when people hear cirrhosis, they think of heavy drinkers, because that's generally who it happens to. It's just it's excessive scarring of the liver. My brother, Sean, was not a heavy drinker at all. He did have an unhealthy lifestyle, but he passed away at 35. And that's he had never gone to a doctor about it, never knew anything was wrong. None of the family ever knew. So I'm using this as something to relate to some people too, because one thing that happened shortly after he passed, and I shared it online, was way more people than I would have ever guessed came forward saying that they lost a sibling at a young age, which was kind of shocking. So I think there's a lot of people that can relate to it on that specific level. But there's also other levels of losing friends or other family members way too young, or just, losing a family member from unexpectedly, and shockingly, because it definitely rocked our world. But it also, I want to use this as a PSA to go to the doctor. like we're not bulletproof. That's the word I'm looking for. And like, just go get your annual checkup, go get your blood work done. If he would have done that, we would have known about it so much sooner. There's so much more that could have been done to at least extend his life, if not save it.
Specifically blood work, I'll say. Like, I
Yes.
think a lot of people will go to the doctor if they have a cold or something.
Yeah.
But the amount of times that I hear that people don't get their blood work done
Yeah.
is surprising to me.
Yeah, absolutely. And he was 35. We found out after he passed, he absolutely was having symptoms. He wasn't sharing those symptoms really with anyone in any kind of a way that would indicate that there was a serious problem. But he knew that there was something going on, and I can only imagine that his mindset was, I'm 35. Like,
That, or like as things come on, they get normalized, right? So
yeah,
you have them for a little while, then it becomes your new normal. It gets a little worse, it becomes your new normal type thing.
right.
So I think I know that this is a very difficult thing for you to talk about, but I do think that it's a really wonderful PSA and, a platform that you can use to, if one person goes to the doctor because you just said it,
Right.
it's absolutely worth it.
Yeah. And I mean, he died at 35.
Yeah.
Like, that's wild. And I've had other close friends. My husband's best friend, best man at her wedding, died at 29 from testicular cancer. And one of my best friends growing up, Heidi, her husband died at 30 from cardiac arrest. All things that they were young men. They knew something was going on, but just thought there's no way that this is like life-threatening, right?
Yeah.
So if nothing else, go to the doctor, get your blood work done on an annual basis, figure out, you're going to hear some hard truths probably. Like, we're all going to hear you should exercise more and you should eat better.
Right.
And we should all try to do that. But there might be some serious problems going on. So just take care of yourself.
Listen to your body.
Listen to your body.
Yeah.
Your family and friends will thank you. And I was a little shaky with my voice at first, but I think I got through that okay.
I think you got through it great.
Rest in peace to Sean. Yeah, January 21st is always going to be a little heavy for me.
Yeah.
But I'm excited
Understandable.
for what we're going to talk about because we're going to play a bit of a game, and I think that'll be fun.
It'll cheer you up.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing.
Yeah, and if anybody, I don't know, I wouldn't call myself an expert on cirrhosis by any means, but if anybody wants to reach out because they're going through something similar, they have a family member going through something similar, I'm happy to chat because it's a pretty wild thing to go through.
You have learned a lot about it though since then.
Yeah.
So I actually think that you are a great resource. You're not like a certified resource or whatever
Right.
you want to call that, but you are a resource of sort. And so DM us.
Yeah.
And by us, I mean her.
Yeah.
But one of us will see it and say it to her. She either say it to herself or I'll tell her.
Exactly. So, just hold space in your hearts for loved ones that have gone too soon, and maybe hold a little space in your heart for my brother Sean because we miss him.
Yeah.
And Nani, I think yours is a little more easygoing and fun, which I feel like mine have been generally pretty heavy lately.
If you look at mine close enough, there's some darkness to all of them. I just deliver them in a positive way.
Okay, fair enough. So, Nani, what's making you emo today or this week?
That I'm still single? No.
Okay. Yep. Well, you set your intention like 3 weeks ago, so
We're working on it. So that's actually what's making me emo is that I feel like I am actively working at one of my intentions,
Right.
which is to find my person this year. And this this is what I mean. It's masked. It's masked with like humor and I don't know, funniness and it was a really great fun night that we had. So this past Saturday, there is a nonprofit here called Higher Ground, and it is a nonprofit to essentially work with people that have special needs of any sort, disabilities of any sort, and then also veterans and first responders.
Right.
So they'll go to higher ground and they'll learn how to ski or fish or do something that they've never done before. And it's kind of like through the power of outdoors and through, um, I don't know, different experiences that you might not get elsewhere.
Right.
And we have a lot of that here in Ketchum.
Yeah, it's a great organization.
Yeah, like an amazing organization. So, back to us kind of talking about our weird little valley and celebrities and whatnot. But Hayes MacArthur, who was an actor, he was in that Dear Santa movie that I told you about over at Christmas time,
Right.
where the boy thinks he's writing a letter to Santa, but he writes it to Satan. Again, go watch that movie if you want. But he's on the board of Higher Ground, and he hosted a comedy night,
Hmm.
which both Katie and I went to separately,
Right.
but together. And Katie went with her husband, and I went with a good friend of mine. And so my friend had gotten really wonderful tickets, and so we were in the front row in the center. Like we couldn't have been in a more obnoxious table. We also couldn't have been in more of like a
Spotlight.
yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Right.
And so on the bill for the night was two comedians. One guy, Jay, who was like the director, maybe producer, but he starred in Super Troopers, Beer Fest, a few other movies. And then and the opener was this guy, Brent. And Brent, he's been in some other stuff. I looked it up really quickly. Oh, wait, I actually have the description on my phone. I totally forgot
Yeah.
about this.
Brent Morin or Morin.
So it says
Um,
Brent Morin, if we're pronouncing it right, is a stand-up comedian and actor best known for his role in NBC's Undateable and his hilarious special on Netflix's The Stand-Ups. With his sharp wit and relatable humor, Brent has become a favorite on stages and screens across the country. And then Jay, I'm gonna butcher his last name and I feel bad about this. Jay, I think it's Chandrasekhar, maybe, is a comedian, actor, and filmmaker best known as a member of the comedy troupe Broken Lizard, creators of cult classics like Super Troopers and Beer Fest, a master of sharp humor and storytelling. Jay has also directed hit episodes of TV series like Arrested Development and Community.
okay. I love Arrested Development.
Right?
I didn't know he was involved in that.
I'll read Hayes MacArthur's too. That way we give everybody their fair share.
Yeah.
Hayes MacArthur is widely recognized for his stand-up performances in Angie Tribeca, The Morning Show, as well as his role in the recently released holiday film Dear Santa. Beyond his acting career, Hayes is a devoted member of the Higher Ground Board of Directors, contributing his time and passion to support its mission. And he's a lot, he's a lot more than that too. But those are
Yeah.
all three of them are. But those are three very short snippets on
Right.
who we saw that night.
And Hayes lives here now. He and his wife, Allie Larder, who's another celebrity, they were just on some interview show and talked about how at the beginning of COVID, they went on a road trip, came to Idaho, fell in love, and moved here, and
Yeah.
it changed their life. So they're around, like they're absolutely a part of the community.
Yeah. I feel like my story's going to go so long now. I really need to focus and get this out. Okay, so we go to the comedy show. We don't know what we are in for except that we know that Hayes is really funny.
Yeah.
Right? And so
And that there's like some pretty big names coming.
pretty big names.
Yeah.
And so sitting there with my friend Allie and again, smack dab in the middle front row, and Hayes comes up, does his set, he nails it. And then Brent comes up, and it got off to an interesting start because
It did.
first of all, we'll say that it is a very tough crowd here.
It is.
We're a tough crowd,
Yep.
and it's a very mixed crowd. So you've got very old people, young people, wealthy, not wealthy. It's kind of both ends of the spectrum.
Mhm.
And I'd say
Very white.
yes, and very white.
Very
Yeah.
white.
Which is not a good thing.
Yeah. Just a
and
fact.
yeah, it's just a fact. And so he's kind of testing out the audience, getting a feel for everything. And one thing that I always joke about with Katie is like, I don't read. I literally never read.
Yeah.
That's just not my thing. And so Brent makes this joke about New Year's resolutions. And he's talking about how he is 38 and single and looking for his wife or whatever. And immediately I'm like, ding, ding, ding. New Year's intention.
Yeah.
And then there's four of us at this table. and this other couple that we're seated with, older woman who was just like impeccably dressed head to toe. Turns out to be a friend of our friend of a friend of ours,
Right.
and she's just a hoot. And she knows that I'm single because we were meeting and catching up and whatever. And she turns around to me and she's like, I think he might be your guy.
Yeah.
I'm like, stop. Okay, we can't start this delusional thing for me at like, 7:55 in the evening.
At the beginning of his set.
Yeah, exactly. And so he makes reference to like the fact that he's in a similar space as me, wanting to find his person. And so then he goes into some jokes. He's really got the audience in the pocket. Like he was nailing his set.
He was great.
So good. And and then at one point he makes reference to reading. He also doesn't read, turns out.
Right.
Maybe he doesn't even know how to read at all. But he makes
He knows how to read.
Who knows? And so he makes reference to something, and I said something like, I'm a chirper. I
Yeah.
shouldn't be a chirper, but I'm a chirper. And at comedy shows, if I feel
Yeah.
like interjecting, I do. And it's maybe not the best quality of mine, but like, I don't even know I'm doing it sometimes.
Right.
And so I said, like, you don't have to, like,
He said my being 38, something along the lines of my New Year's resolutions have really changed. And he gave an example of when he was like 26. He's like, my New Year's resolution was to do a cartwheel. And then he's like, now at 38, my New Year's resolution is to read a book.
yeah.
And then he said, I've never read a book, which I thought was funny. And you responded, I don't read, I listen.
Yeah.
Right? Or something along
Yeah.
those lines.
Pretty much like, I don't read, I listen.
Yeah.
And then he immediately quickly snaps right back at me. He's like, you want to get out of here right now? And I'm like,
Yeah.
stop.
Like, oh.
Stop. And the funniest part, though, is that you heard that whole interaction.
Yeah, I didn't know it was you.
You didn't know it was me.
No, I didn't know you were, front and center.
Yeah. So
I was in the
immediately
back.
I was like, okay, well then, like, we've already hit it off. Like, we're already dating.
Okay. Reel it in. Reel
I
it in.
know. Oh my God, stop. We're best friends and we're dating now. And so we go to this thing afterwards. Oh, wait. So he gets through his set. He nails it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he was great. He was my favorite.
Yeah, me too. And then Jay,
They were all great.
I mean, everybody was amazing, but he definitely took the night for me. And it wasn't just his comment. And then so Jay goes up, he does a set. It was actually pretty funny. He did a beer chugging contest with some audience members.
He did.
And he was a really good storyteller. And then at the very end, all of the comedians came back up on stage.
Yeah.
And
They had a raffle.
they had a raffle, but like it was not planned.
No.
And it went so awry and just like haywire that it was amazing.
But that was also just my favorite. Like I was crying laughing at
Yeah.
that point. And Brent got behind the piano and it sounded like he was just like, I just want to play the piano. And he was kind of like playing some riffs and then just like singing a couple like little bits here and there,
Mhm.
just like totally unplanned. And then he was like, Sun Valley. But it was so good.
It was so ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it was so good. The improv of it all is
Yes.
just what really made it for me.
Yeah, they were just riffing off of each other, and it was so good.
Yeah. So anyway, so we go to this thing afterwards. We chit chat a little bit here and there. And then all of us kind of together and apart go to our local bar here called the Casino, which it's not a casino. It's just a bar named
Right.
the Casino.
Right.
And we end up meeting and chatting and whatever. And if there's I really should have set a specific intention for myself, Katie, and that is to not just like walk away when like after you've been talking to somebody, because pretty much what I did is he and I were hanging out, talking, whatever, catching up about things, and I just was like, yeah, I gotta go, and I just bolted. I just bolted. And everybody was like, oh my God, why did you do that?
Yeah.
So, so we had a love connection and then I bolted. Not a real love connection, but you know what
right.
I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, I left my boyfriend of like, hour and a half.
Ooh, hour and a half.
Hour and a half boyfriend.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like from the beginning of a set.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Sure. I give you, if you're counting from that comment where he said, let's get out of here, I'd give it a couple hours.
Yeah.
If that was the beginning of the
Yeah.
relationship.
Yep.
So Brent, we're going to share this podcast with you, and I hope you listen and come on and join us and let's chat. Let's see what your recollection is of the evening.
You know what makes me so sad is that there's actually really only one thing that I really wanted to do that night, because he had on like a Taylor Swift style bracelet, you know, the little friendship bracelets.
Yep.
And you know, I make those bracelets all the time.
Me
I made
too.
one for us for the emo hour.
Yes.
I make them for friends all the time. I made one for myself that has my phone number on it.
Right.
And I normally will always wear it out
Yeah. Oh,
if
yeah.
I'm going to like an event or whatever.
Right.
I also got a fortune cookie the other day that said I'm going to be going to an event and I'm going to meet someone important.
I know. I almost brought that up.
And so all of these things, I sound delusional, but like I'm here for the Delulu, I guess. I do get some of the Delulu stuff on TikTok. I'm not proud of it, but here we are. I know I'm not alone. But I do wish I would have had my bracelet, because I would have just given it to him.
Right.
And then here we are, you know, a couple days, it's been what, like 3 days. And I ran into Pat, the gal that I was seated with, that was
Right.
like, I think he's your husband. Oh my God, I totally forgot another part of the story.
Oh, yes. I know where you're going with this.
Yeah, should I say it or no?
Up to you.
Okay, so I was talking to one of Brent's friends at the bar, and we were talking about hot wings for some reason. And I asked him the question, I'm like, bone in or boneless? He's like, bone in. And he's like, what about you? And I was like, duh, bone in, flavor, way better. And then I said, well, how do you eat your wings? That's what's important. And he like thought about it for a second. He's like, with one hand. I'm like, that's the correct answer. It only it has to be one hand, because you need a party hand.
You got to have a party hand.
And he literally looks over at Brent and he's like, Brent, I just found your wife.
I mean, that is pretty bizarre
I know,
that
right?
like 2 third parties
Yeah.
made a similar comment.
Yeah, make comments about marriage.
And you've set your intention to find your person this year. And Brent said on stage, I'm looking for my wife.
Yeah.
Like that's all pretty bizarre.
Yeah, but here's the thing. The problem with this whole scenario is that he said on stage that he gets awkward and dumb in front of people that he likes, which I'm not saying that he liked or was attracted to me, but I'm saying I have the same problem.
Right.
I get dumb, like real dumb. You know, you've seen it.
Match made in heaven.
Yeah, it's like one of those things where it's like, you've seen those TikToks, I'm sure, where
I've shared some with you.
yeah, where it'll be like, you know, on a normal day, you can go and order a coffee. Be like, I'll have a coffee with 2 sugars and a little cream. And be like, I will have some goat.
Yeah, okay.
I'll have a glass of goat. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell. And that's what's making me emo this week.
It
So
was quite the story.
it was a long-winded story. I've done this
Yeah.
a couple times now lately.
But look up Brent Marin and send him a message
Yeah.
on our behalf
On
to
our behalf.
listen to this episode, because we gave him the best shout out. And we will also send him a message and hope he sees it too.
I also
And
made myself sound pretty interesting, but here we are,
here we are.
2025.
Hey, I like Shameless Nani.
Yeah,
I'm all about it.
yeah.
I'm all about it.
Um,
Well, Brent, come back to Sun Valley, please.
that was Katie talking.
I will flirt for you.
Thank God for friends. You know,
I did send him a message from our shared Instagram, the emo hour, and sent a kissy emoji at the end.
I know.
That was all me.
Yeah.
So anyway, moving on, we were going to do a quick little
Recap
recap
from last week's episode.
of just a couple things we had touched base on: the California fires and the Justin Baldoni, Blake Lively feud.
Yep.
So
That and the fact we touched on it very briefly, but TikTok was down. TikTok is back, thank God. I do feel like there is a difference between the old TikTok and the new TikTok. We've talked about that for a second.
You're not alone in that thinking, but
Yeah.
I'm not as aware of that as you are.
Yeah. And then but yeah, that's where so much information is garnered. And so like when I was doing some digging around a few other things, I was like, why is this harder? Why this shouldn't be as hard. So what are you going to do? But
Interesting.
in very emo news as it relates to the LA fires,
Right.
Spencer Pratt and Heidi Montag, right? So
Yeah.
can't forget
Is it Montag or Montag?
I've always said Montauk.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought we were saying
Montag.
Montag last week,
Maybe
which
it
is
was
what I thought it was. But I've been hearing more people say Montauk
tomato,
in the
tomato.
last few days. Tomato, tomato, or an alternate timeline.
Oh boy. Here we go. Here we go again.
Anyway, yes, they were hanging out with Avril Lavigne.
I know. Like, gotta love that. Pop punk princess right there.
Yeah.
She came over to their house. They had some wine. They probably had something else because they all were feeling a little loosey goosey in the video. Actually, who else? Who else? I saw like some skit, and maybe it was Brent at the thing, but somebody was referencing like the modern day of because I watched like a couple snippets of his stand up outside
Yeah.
of what we saw because you had watched it and said
Yeah.
it was good. I think I might have turned on Netflix, but in one of the things, it was like there's never been a time in your life like now where you can ruin your life with just one thing in your hand, you know?
So true.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like you could the same idea as like drunk texting,
Mm-hmm.
right? Drunk TikToking or drunk whatevering.
Yeah, you really gotta censor yourself
Yep.
because if you put something out there to the world, it can happen in seconds, and it's not good.
Yep. But they were totally fine. But I just love,
Right.
I love the humanity of all of it. It was like the three of them in a living room drinking wine, and it's
Yeah.
Avril Lavigne and Spencer and Spidey
Yeah,
and Spidey.
and she even Avril got on Spencer's TikTok like a little cameo, and he was like, "You don't have to do that. That's so great." But yeah, it was just sweet to see. There's so many people coming out to support them.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's a lot of other people in need. So again, just reiterate, whatever you think you can do to help, do it.
Right.
There's nothing too small. I don't know. Did you have other updates about the fires that you wanted to talk about?
I mean, just if there's any way that you can help, you should help, right? It doesn't have to be monetary, but really,
Yeah.
you know, the containment is not as high as people would like,
Right.
and it's still very much going on, and they're still very much dealing with. And like I think we touched on this last week, but we're accustomed to fires where we live very often, right?
Yeah.
And so we pay attention to containment and kind of the topography of things and whatnot, and it just sucks because it's such a condensed and populated area
Yeah,
that
the
it's
wildfires that we have are generally it's more destruction of just natural resources
right.
typically
Yeah.
than, homes and people's lives. That's always wrapped into it a little bit, but it's more just mass destruction of natural resources.
Yeah.
Which is heartbreaking in a different way.
Yes, very much so. So yeah, it really sucks to see, and I hope that by the time we have our next podcast next week, that things only continue to improve.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm looking in the camera, and my eyebrow is still freaking me out. I got to tell you, because we talked about this on I think last week's
You did,
episode that I
yeah.
got my star card.
You did.
I had to go back to the DMV today though to take care of it because we had a couple things went haywire. But yeah, look at.
I'm glad that you're updating the listeners about this too.
No, I just didn't know I had this messed up of an eyebrow.
It's not messed up.
Oh, thank you.
Faces faces make
Your face is faces.
different facial expressions.
Okay,
and do different
so
things.
the other thing that we needed to do a quick update on is Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively and the drama.
Yes, because there's been a new lawsuit filed since we talked about it last.
Yes.
So
And
when
a
we
couple
talked about
statements.
it last, there was not a direct lawsuit against Blake Lively from Justin Baldoni, but he has since filed a lawsuit against her for $400 million.
Yes.
And I don't know a ton of details again about that, but it is, man, it's making the rounds. There's lots of people talking about it. Lots of people are taking sides. I'm not really sure what the general consensus is on sides. I feel like I've seen a fair amount of like support on both sides.
Yeah, I think I've seen support on both sides. Maybe it's because of what I'm being served based on the algorithms
Right.
that are out there, but I am seeing a lot more support for Justin
Okay.
because for a lot of different reasons, but Justin's team just keeps putting out more and more. So like today or yesterday they put out footage, like back end footage, pretty much being like I have nothing to hide.
Yeah.
I have nothing to hide at all. And Blake Lively made a statement. Justin Baldoni's lawyer made another statement against that. last I saw, Justin Baldoni was like in Hawaii with his family or something like that. And I haven't seen anything
Mm.
with Blake Lively and or Ryan Reynolds, except he just closed a deal on the soccer team in South America.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so he continued forward with that deal. But I mean, I looked up his net worth, just a quick Google, and it was $350 million. So
Do you think you can trust those numbers? I don't
No.
feel like you can ever trust those numbers.
no.
Yeah.
But that's why I was wondering, I was like, where did they get the $400 million number from?
Yeah.
So seeing that he like roughly, maybe that's just their general net worth.
Hmm.
But I feel like he might be worth more just with all the different business things that he
I feel
has.
like he's got his hands in a lot of things.
A lot.
And Blake comes from family money.
Yep, she's a Nepo baby.
Yeah. I don't know about Ryan. I don't think he is.
Yeah, but she's not doing herself any favors with all of her interviews and whatnot. The only thing I will say is that both she and Ryan have very similar types of humor.
Yeah.
And that type of humor coming out of a man's mouth versus a woman's mouth, it can be taken differently. And so I feel like that has gone not in her way, unfortunately, and that sucks being a woman, because like like females for females, right? But through all of this and the research that I've done and kind of looking into everything from all the different sources, TikTok being a huge resource, obviously, it doesn't look great for Blake,
Right.
is all I'll say. But
Interesting.
time will tell.
Time will tell.
Time will tell.
More is sure to come out.
Do you think they're going to settle before they go to court?
I think that's more than likely. But that's more than likely in every single lawsuit.
Oh,
Honestly,
really? Is
yeah.
that like a thing that happens most of the time?
Yeah, because it's just litigation is so expensive. I mean, these people obviously have a ton of money,
Right.
but they're also hiring the most expensive lawyers, so litigation is super expensive. There's also just a lot of risk that comes with going to trial.
Oh, because it's just
Because you just don't know. Like
unknown.
if it's a jury or if it's a court, you just don't know what's going to happen. And if you come to a settlement agreement, then you have certainty, right? Like there's
Right.
some value in buying certainty in what the outcome is going to be rather than going to trial for however many days and just like sitting in limbo, not sure what's going to happen.
right.
So there's value in buying certainty. And there's also value in just like ending a dispute like this, right? Like it's in the public eye. It's stressful. I'm sure it's emotional. They're losing sleep. I'm sure, like all
Yeah,
these
families
things.
are involved on both sides. Like there's just a lot.
Matters rarely go to trial. So in general, yeah, it's likely to settle,
Interesting.
but it's very early. Like I wouldn't say it's likely to settle right now.
Yeah.
I'd give it several months before.
You know who really won out of all of this? Anybody who was going through something that was in the public spotlight. I feel like everybody's attention went towards this Blake Lively thing.
Yeah.
And then the next thing will come up and it'll be another one. That'll take the attention away from this.
The public attention span is short.
Sure is.
That's-
So is mine.
Yes. Anyway, this has been a long episode. We should
Sure
get
has.
into the topic of the day.
But can we also say you said rude today
Oh, I did.
for the first time?
Yeah.
You're
I
rude.
called you out on not being present.
I know. Generally, I feel like I've been pretty dang present though.
Yeah, it was like you said, it was the first time I've done that.
Mhm.
But then you responded with like, "Well, I was doing this before you started talking or something." I was like, "Okay."
Viral.
Yeah.
Viral.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Anyway, topic of the day after that super long intro and recap is we wanted to talk about what's emo and what's not emo, band-wise.
Man, yeah.
So we asked on our Instagram for some listeners and friends to give us some suggestions on bands to talk about, and we have kind of our own lists that we've created. And we're thinking just kind of rapid fire. Let's go through some. In our opinion, are they emo or are they not? And I also discovered this website that I need to pull up right now that you can basically plug in a band and it'll give you their analysis of if the band is emo or not.
Yeah.
So the website is thisbandemo.com. So I think we give our opinions first and then we go to the website as the ultimate source.
Yeah, and we have quite a few in here, so I don't know how many we'll actually get through.
Yeah.
But let's get through the listener requests
Okay.
first, if that's okay with you.
Sure.
So AFI being the first.
Emo.
I would say emo too.
Yeah. Ooh.
What's it say?
The website says AFI is punk.
Interesting.
I don't agree with that.
Yeah, I don't know that I agree with that either. The next one's Rage Against the Machine.
I wouldn't even say punk for AFI. Like if I weren't going to say emo, what would I say?
I think moody. And so it's kind of moody music to me. And I think I don't it's emo to me. AFI makes me think of
Yeah, have you seen how he looks?
yeah, also what is that song? Hey, Miss Murder
Yeah.
yeah, that one.
And Silver and Cold.
Yeah.
Like those are
Oh
so
wait,
emo.
that's Silver and Cold is AFI.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I hope so.
I mean, I think that
I get it.
I think that they're yeah, I say emo. But,
Huh. And I definitely wouldn't say punk. Like punk is not interesting. Okay, well that was a hot start.
it sure was.
When I had tested this out last night, I was happier with the results than we just got on that one. What's the next one?
Rage Against the Machine.
Non emo.
I don't think
I would call them rock new metal.
yeah. I'm with you.
This website says, so this is apparently a council, so it says emo council member 1 in quotes, Bulls on Parade was fucking insane to see live. But it says Rage Against the Machine is not an emo band.
Yeah,
So
I would agree.
We're all in agreement on this one.
Bill Murray, spelled Bilmuri.
And I have not listened to Bill Murray much, but
Love the name.
we did. Yes, I do too. We did play a song of theirs on our radio show. We did a Y'alternative episode, and one of our friends, McKenna, who's probably listening to this podcast, requested a Bill Murray song, which was very Y'alternative. And I really enjoyed that song. I just haven't gotten into them. So I don't know that I have an answer for Bill Murray.
Oh, personally?
Yeah.
I'm going to just say because of the adjacentness that they're not emo, but they're pretty dang close. So I'm going to say that the website's going to say no.
And the result is Bill Murray is not in our system. So I think that's a newer band, and this website is probably a little dated.
That and I don't know. That's interesting.
Oh yeah, emo adjacent from the limited knowledge that I have.
Yeah.
Is what I would say.
What about Limbeck? Limbeck.
I told you before, our friend Brittany requested this one. Hopefully Brittany's listening. I haven't ever listened to Limbeck.
I'm going to say they're emo.
Oh, Limbeck is not an emo band.
Why?
That's what it doesn't give a reason.
Interesting. I love that. And I wonder how many people are on this council of theirs. Because who's the entity behind it again? I forget.
It says made by your friends at Washed Up
Emo, yeah.
and everyconcertever.com.
Oh, okay.
Which I don't know what that is.
Yeah. Everyconcertever.com.
Everyconcert.com. Yeah.
What about Green Day? Emo, I'm going to go ahead and say.
Really?
Yeah.
I wouldn't. I don't think Green Day's emo. And I would say Green Day is, I'd give them emo adjacent, I guess, but I'd give them more just alternative rock and maybe a little punk.
Definitely.
But I wouldn't say emo. And I think our friend Ann Lynn requested Green Day, and
a few people did.
A couple people did, and my sister-in-law. But specifically, Ann Lynn said Google says Green Day is emo, and I think that's wrong. And this website says Green Day is not an emo band.
Interesting.
So I'm right and you're wrong. And it says Kerplunk. That's a song name, apparently, of Green Day.
Oh my
Kerplunk is in rotation here at council meetings on Fridays, if that's any consolation. Green Day is punk. That's what it says.
I do agree with that. They are punk. Yeah. But just because of the time that they were at their heyday, and I know that they're still very much in a heyday, but emo was just so big, and that's kind of why I'm like, yeah, they're emo.
Yeah.
Okay, Piebald.
Another band I've never listened to, so I don't have...
I have listened to it, or to them, and it was in my college days in Boston, and I can't really remember, but I'm going to go ahead and say that they're not. I think that they're harder than emo.
The website says Piebald is an emo band.
Oh my God.
It does not give a reason.
Interesting. Well, we're winning here. What about Panic at the Disco?
I would say emo.
You cannot find a more defining emo band because of the time in which they came out and the style of music. It's like carnival emo. Carnemo.
Yeah. The website says Panic at the Disco is not an emo band. I'm starting to lose faith in this website. Because I think Panic at the Disco is fully an emo band. And it says the, in quotes, emo phase for a night band. So basically they're calling them sellouts, I guess.
Yeah,
Or like
and-
too popular.
Yes, and then they really changed because if you think you have to be specific about the time that you're talking about, because modern day Panic at the Disco, pop,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
You go to the first album, emo,
Yeah.
and then it just slowly got less emo the further down the line. So I don't totally disagree with them.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, yeah, that's basically what they're saying is like they had an emo phase, and if you as a human had an emo phase, you probably think Panic at the Disco is
Right.
emo.
But as we
But
both
I
know,
agree.
it's not a phase.
It's not a phase, it's
It's
a lifestyle.
741. I'm going to go say, again, that's hard. That's kind of like Green Day. I'm going to say emo, but really they're punk.
I'm going to say pop punk.
Yeah, pop punk.
This says,
Oh, God.
this says Sum 41 is not an emo band. And then it just says Canadian.
Oh, my God. I wonder what it says for Avril Lavigne. Probably like also Canadian.
Oh, let's look that up. I think Avril Lavigne is more emo than Sum 41
Do you
is.
remember she and Derek Whitby or whatever his name is?
Yeah, they were married.
They were married. And then she was married to the guy from Nickelback. Like she only was
Chad
married
Kroeger.
to
Canadian.
Canadian men.
Yeah.
So interesting.
Yeah. This says Avril Lavigne is not an emo band.
Well, she's not a band, but she
True.
also is. She was pop.
She's very. You listen to it now, and it's so poppy.
It's so poppy.
Back when I was a teenager, I thought it was like so rebellious and like yeah,
because she
rebellious
was
is a
wearing
great
like
word.
fishnet like gloves with a tie and a white tank top.
Yeah,
So
and baggy pants.
And baggy pants.
Skatered.
Yeah.
Skatered.
she skatered.
Skatered.
Yeah.
He was a skater.
Okay, Less Than Jake and Real Big Fish, I think, are kind of looped into the same vibe,
Yeah.
which is like, what's the genre I'm thinking of?
Ska.
Ska. Thank
Yeah,
you.
I would call them ska.
I would call neither of them emo and both of them ska punk.
This says Less Than Jake is not an emo band. It's punk. I'd say ska punk. Sure.
Yep.
Sorry, what was the other one?
Less Than Jake.
No, that's the one I just did.
Oh, Real Big Fish. REEL.
Yeah. Real Big Fish. Again, I would say ska, but like punk I think fits as well.
Yeah, I'd say the same.
Sorry, I typed it wrong. This says Real Big Fish is not an emo band. And then it says, "Are you kidding me?" So our friend Alex suggested that. Alex, are you kidding me?
Are you kidding?
But she also specifically said this is ska and SoCal punk.
Right.
So she knows.
Right.
I mean, that's great too, but
Yeah.
not emo, not pure emo.
So let's get into a couple that like you and I have thought about because
Okay.
I had a couple when we were testing this thing out that I was like, The Fray. And I love that you actually type that in
Well, duh.
because I think that that's awesome. But if you think about it, the reason why I would choose a band like The Fray, even though I know that they're pop, right? But they were so emotional, and the time frame in which they hit their like heyday, big success, very much Grey's Anatomy era, very much like emo era.
Right.
And so, like,
Grey's
are they?
Anatomy?
Yeah, remember Grey's? They were like,
Oh, but
How to
why-
Save a Life.
How is that? I didn't ever watch Grey's Anatomy.
Oh, I recently watched all of it and I'm kind of embarrassed. I got to like the modern day episodes and I'm like, whoa, this is Jump the Shark. I need to stop. I've wasted so much of my
Right.
time watching this show. But yeah,
Did they do like the theme song or something?
yeah, How to Save a
Okay.
Life. That was the
Gotcha.
reference.
No, I understand.
Yep.
I did not understand.
Okay,
I know
but,
that song.
but what did it say?
It says The Fray is not an emo band, which we know.
Uh-huh.
But then it says, this one is quite funny. One of the council members has actually seen The Fray live. Since hearing about that, the rest of us haven't stopped laughing for a good 45 minutes. About 30 minutes into the laughter, he left the office. The look on his face, priceless.
I love the commentary. It's
Yeah.
so good.
That is good.
One of the ones on your list, Taking Back Sunday.
To me, that is like primo emo.
Primo.
That would be my opinion. They are an emo band.
Yes, I'd say they're an emo band.
Taking Back Sunday, according to the website, is an emo band. Then it says, I can see you shaking your head. It's okay. Edit. If you're thinking about using this band name as a pun for your DJ, brunch, or karaoke night, I'd reconsider. I don't really get that.
I mean, Yeah, like Taking Back Tuesday or,
Yeah.
Taking Back Sunday for brunch. Get it? Sunday brunch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Blink-182.
I mean, I just had to throw Blink-182 in here because, as we know, they're my fave, and they are not emo, although I Miss You is an emo song.
I would agree with that.
And they have other emo songs like throughout their collection, but
Yep.
they're pop punk.
Yeah, I would say that they're not emo. What does the website say?
It says Blink-182 is not an emo band. Sorry to anyone over 30. They're pop punk.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there you go.
Fall Out Boy.
And that's another one I think that's kind of tough for me, to be honest with you. I would classify them as emo and pop punk. I think.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and give them emo, though. Just because of their timing.
So this says Fall Out Boy is not an emo band, but then it says emo pop punk, now pop. So
Same thing with like,
I agree.
Yeah.
That's fair.
yeah, it is
some,
fair.
There's some emo in Fall Out Boy, especially in the older stuff, but it also was very pop punk, and it just has gotten kind of more and more poppy over the years.
What about, will you pop in Acceptance? Because I would say Acceptance is emo. And if you don't know who Acceptance is, please go listen to them. They're so good.
And I haven't listened to Acceptance a ton, but from what I know, I would call them emo. And this says Acceptance is an emo band.
Hell yeah. Emo to the core. What about Cartel? We did we did an emo night with them here in Stanley this summer. Was it summer or was it fall? It was fall.
It was September.
Yeah, this past fall we did
Yeah.
an emo night with them up at a bar called the Rod and Gun,
Yes.
and it was epically fun.
Yes.
But I would say they're pop,
They're very poppy.
but I'm gonna give them emo.
I would give them emo too, just because I think even though it is very poppy, you only really, I feel like you only knew about them if you were an emo kid.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
that's fair.
Like they were in the scene. So I wouldn't consider their music the most emo, but you wouldn't know about them unless you were an emo kid.
Right.
That's what I would say.
Yeah.
But the website says, Cartel is not an emo band. Cartel is punk.
No.
No.
They're so poppy.
Yeah. They're poppy.
Okay, you said the scene and it made me think of Selena Gomez. Do you remember when Selena Gomez originally came out? It was Selena Gomez and the Scene, her backing band, and she was super punk.
I know. You've told me about this before. I do not have any independent memory of that. And that is not in the system for this
They
website.
really should have that in the system because that was an era of Selena Gomez. And I would give her the same, that she was trying real hard to be emo there for a hot
Yeah.
sec. And then, then now she's doing the thing that she's doing.
Now she's engaged to Benny Blanco.
Benny Blanco, can you type in the Postal Service? We could also put in Death Cab for Cutie, which I know that they're the same but very different, but kind of the same but very different.
Yeah, and I think those are two bands I never listened. I didn't listen to much. I am familiar, but they just weren't really my vibe.
Yeah.
But I think I would call both of them emo, like I don't know, soft emo or something.
One's like electronic emo
Mellow.
and one is like sad emo.
Yeah. Okay, so which one's which? Do you want to describe? Like, what do you mean?
Well, the Postal Service is electronic. It's
Yeah.
like all electronic elements. I literally have memories of listening to that entire record from front to back, painting our high school wrestling wall because I was in art club. And but I would say emo. Really well produced emo.
For both of them?
Yeah.
Okay. I would call them both emo too.
Yeah.
And the website says that both of those bands are emo.
Yes.
Yeah. It also says Death Cab for Cutie is also indie.
Very much indie.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
is fair.
Indie emo. Indie emo.
Indie emo.
What's my deal? Why do I keep trying to make words?
I don't know. Because you're like my mom, and that's what she does.
Oh my God. Let's see. What else do we have on here? You have Olivia Rodrigo.
Which I really have enjoyed Olivia Rodrigo.
As one of our friends says, O-Rod, which
Yeah.
just sounds so wrong.
Oh, and he'll listen probably, right?
Uh-huh. Shout out.
I really enjoy Olivia Rodrigo. I think she has some emo elements. I think it's mostly pop punk.
Yeah. She's modern. I'd say she's like modern day pop. She's modern day Avril Lavigne.
Yeah, She has a lot of influence, definitely from emo bands too, which I
Well,
love.
and her producer, as tall like is the dude from As Tall as Lions.
Right.
As Tall as Lions is absolutely an emo band. We should probably type it in the website.
Okay. But first, so the website says Olivia Rodrigo is not an emo band, but it says if you're finding punk/emo/hardcore from this artist, welcome aboard. So they're welcoming Olivia Rodrigo fans in.
I mean, I do love that.
Yeah. And you said Tall as Lions?
As Tall as Lions. Another group that if you haven't listened to, you absolutely should.
I have never listened to As Tall as Lions.
So Dan Nigro is the one who is the producer for Olivia and songwriter with Olivia Rodrigo, and he's also behind Chapel Roan and some other people. But he is so talented. His voice is amazing. You just need to go listen.
Yeah. Well, the website says As Tall as Lions is an emo band.
Knew it.
Yeah.
They're so good. They're from Long Island. Long Island.
Long Island.
What other ones do you you put Hoobastank in here?
Okay, let's be clear that I only put Hoobastank in here because you put the Fray. And I was like, also, I think it is helpful for some of our listeners who maybe don't listen to emo, who might think that bands like that are emo.
Right.
So no, I do not think that Hoobastank is an emo band.
I don't think they are either, but let's see what they say.
The website says Hoobastank is not an emo band. And it says terrestrial radio is bad.
Terrestrial radio. That's awesome. What about POD? If we're on the
Okay.
Hoobastank train, what about POD?
What about POD? And I would say no. What would you say?
No,
Yeah, website says no. Doesn't say anything
but
else.
they've got some bangers, man.
Sure.
Yeah.
We
I know. Now I'm thinking about Puddle of Mud. I'm thinking about so many other bands right now.
Puddle of Mud is good too.
Yeah. That guy had a really good voice, I remember. Okay, Brand New.
Puddle of Mud is not an emo band.
No surprise there. Brand New.
Brand New is an emo band, I would say.
I would agree.
Primo emo, in my opinion.
Yep.
And the website says Brand New is an emo band. And then it says the Radiohead of emo,
Oh,
which I don't feel like I know enough about Radiohead to really understand what they're trying to say there.
I'd say I'd give it like iconic emo
Okay.
is kind of the way I think. Like when I think of Radiohead, like they are iconic. They're in their own lane. They are like
Yeah.
the North Star for a lot of artists.
Okay.
And in the emo world, I think a lot of people look to Brand New
Right.
as being, What about the Starting Line?
The Starting Line is pretty poppy, but
I'd say emo.
I think I'd call them emo too. I have a harder time with that one. The website says the Starting Line is an emo band, and then it says bleached hair tips.
Oh my God. Will you do Circus Survive? Because I worked with them for so long.
Oh, yeah.
And I didn't even think about that until right this second. I'm going to go ahead and say that they're emo.
I think I would say the same. They also agree. Circus Survive is an emo band. They are also hardcore, it says.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I give them that. So we have a few more on our list that we both kind of made individually. Should we look at a couple more?
Yeah.
So Nirvana, Under Oath, Hawthorne Heights, Emery, Story of the Year, All American Rejects.
Whoa. Slow down.
Throwing them all out at you. Just wanted you to
Nirvana
pick.
was another one. No, Nirvana is not emo in my opinion. It is grunge.
Yep.
And the website agrees that it's not an emo band, but calls Nirvana punk. I don't think I would call Nirvana punk.
No, but it's also interesting the way that people from different parts of the country reference different types of music.
Right.
So, like, they're very grunge to me too.
Hawthorne Heights, I would say
Emo.
yes, is emo. Like
Yep.
they're kind of
Ohio is for lovers. Come on.
primo emo.
Yep.
But this says Hawthorne Heights is not an emo band. I feel bad, but yes, no.
Really?
And then there's like this meme that you've seen before,
What is it? Oh, yeah.
where it's like this person like shrugging in confusion.
Yeah. Huh?
Yeah. So I think maybe they're trying to start some fights with this answer because I think most people would say
That they're emo.
Hawthorne Heights is emo.
What about Under Oath? Because, like, if they're saying that about Hawthorne Heights, Under Oath to me is emo.
I would call Under Oath emo.
Screamo.
Yeah. specifically screamo, but yeah, I'd say they're emo. They say Under Oath is not an emo band. It's hardcore and metal and punk. There's too many things are falling under punk
Punk.
on this website.
I agree. So then, like, I
Hold on.
wonder where. So I have Copeland. I have Amberlin on here. There's All American Rejects.
I just typed in Emery.
Yeah.
Emery is not an emo band. It says Emery is punk. I disagree. I'd call them similar to Under Oath.
Yep. I also consider emo an umbrella.
Yes, we've talked about that.
So I think that I would be more liberal with my definition of emo than they are being, but I also understand that they're trying to be super narrow. But I do wish they had more commentary on their answers because the commentary really gets me.
It is. So I just typed in All American Rejects, who they kind of are like Fall Out Boy to me. Like, I think there's some emo, but they're not the most emo. They're very pop punk. What would you say about All American Rejects?
They're pop, but because of the time that they came out, I'm going to give them emo.
This says All American Rejects is not an emo band. And it says, I'll let you in on this little secret. This is pop punk.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with it, but they're in the emo umbrella.
Yeah.
In my emo umbrella.
Yes.
My personal one.
Oh, you said Copeland?
Yeah, will you do Copeland?
Yeah, you love Copeland. So what's your opinion? I didn't listen to Copeland a ton.
Oh, if they're not emo, then I don't know what up is or down.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't have the same gumption behind that answer that you do.
Yeah,
How do
because
you like that I just use the
it's
word
high-
gumption?
like it's a very high-pitched, whinier voice.
Yeah.
And not in a bad way. Like I
Yeah.
love them. It's very like emotional. I can't imagine that they're not emo.
Okay.
What they say.
The website says there's a lot of commentary on this one,
Oh my god.
but it says Copeland is not an emo band.
What?
And then the commentary is council's final ruling. There have been some crazy debates on this one.
Makes sense.
People yelling at us for yes, and then others yelling at us for no. The bottom line, think what you want. Think about a band that makes you smile.
Oh my god. So yeah, they're emo.
Well, there's more. Band's response. Oh, it looks like maybe is this band emo? I think is an Instagram page. I think we'll have to look that up.
Ooh, okay.
Because they just tagged is this band emo. So the band's response was at is this band emo changed Copeland's status from emo to not emo. After all these years, the authority on the genre is confused on what it is. Not that I care. I think genre labels are lame, but it's crazy to think that they take it seriously enough to go back into the database and change us.
Oh my god.
Hopefully I'll be making music long enough to shake off any more meaningless genre associations.
See, that's where the money is right there. We need more color.
That's so funny. We're gonna have to find that Instagram page and give them a shout out too if it's
Hell
still
yeah.
hopefully it's still like, existing
Yeah.
and being run. But apparently Copeland like commented on something, which is so funny.
I love that.
Yeah.
Hopefully they'll comment on one of our things.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Charlotte did like one of our posts.
It's true.
The Good Charlotte.
The good Charlotte did like our post.
And I typed in Anne Berlin. I would call Anne Berlin emo.
Emo.
They agree. The website agrees. And it says Anne Berlin is an emo band. Jesus told me to.
Oh my,
And then there's a meme that says Anne Berlin, it's in Germany.
oh my god.
We're getting like a little more unhinged as we go.
I know, right? Well, we're pretty much at an hour mark, so we might want to reel it out. But
Okay.
do you want to do one last one?
You have a good one.
Story of the year.
Okay. I think I would say not emo.
I would say emo.
But I kind of like with what I said with this with Cartel.
Mm-hmm.
Like you wouldn't really know story of the year unless you were in the scene, I think.
Yeah.
The website says story of the year is not an emo band.
What?
And then the commentary says, I don't want to start or end this story.
Interesting.
Maybe they're not fans.
Huh.
I don't know.
Well, and then, we didn't even like do some of the most obvious ones like My Chemical Romance.
Oh, they're emo.
Yeah.
Oh, let's end on that one.
Okay.
Because I feel like there might be some
Commentary.
fun commentary on MCR.
MCR.
Okay. We're unanimous that it's emo, right?
Yes, 100%.
Website says My Chemical Romance is not an emo band.
Oh my God.
And then it says, unlike high school, emo has a history longer than 4 years. Which I don't understand. And then it has a calculation of $149.50 times 6,300 equals 941,850.
I don't get that.
I don't understand that at all. If you know what that means, DM us.
Please let us know.
Let us know,
Because we're now just looking at each other in confusion.
No, I'm just confused. But thank you so much, listeners, for giving us some bands to kind of rapid fire discuss. And
Well, there was some in there that I totally like not even thought about in forever, like Piebald,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
And now I feel like I need to go listen to Bill Murray because I need to know what they actually sound like. I know that we've listened, but it kind of went in one ear and out the other.
Right.
So
But yeah, thank you for listening and thank you for giving us some suggestions. That website's pretty fun.
yeah,
I like it.
I could definitely spend some time on there.
Yeah,
I mean, we just spent some time on there, and it went by very quickly for me.
I agree. Should we just go into email lyric of the day?
I think so. Do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
Do you have yours up?
I do.
Okay, you go first.
Okay. So mine is a Copeland
Okay.
lyric, which is partially why I wanted you to look that up. And I also chose it because I thought that it was fun because we're going to go see Copeland and Amberlyn on their tour
Yeah.
in Boise, Idaho.
Boise.
Boise, Idaho. Okay, it's their song No One Really Wins by Copeland.
Yep.
And the lyric is, make your way straight to the door. I hope that you look back before you go, 'cause grace looks back before it starts to leave.
Okay.
It might have been too long.
Yeah, okay, read it one more time.
Okay. Make your way straight to the door. I could maybe leave that part out, but let me start over. Make your way straight to the door. I hope that you look back before you go, 'cause grace looks back before it starts to leave. I could have just said these two lines.
I think you should have.
I hope that you look back before you go, 'cause grace looks back before it starts to leave.
I think that that's better.
And then he also said, they say, it's a fight between my heart and mind.
Oh, I like that too.
And I always thought it was between my heart and mine.
Mm-hmm.
And so the lyrics on the internet, hopefully they're correct, say between the heart and mind.
Right, which is very different.
It is.
Huh.
Well, I obviously didn't really lock into a specific lyric there, but
You have a hard time with that
I
sometimes.
do. This is where you shine. And this is where I realize that I am a Libra and I have a hard time making decisions.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, since we were talking about whether bands were emo or not, I already in a previous episode gave like the most emo lyric like of all time, in my opinion, and in many people's opinion,
Oh, yes.
which is the Under Oath lyric.
Yeah.
But I was like, okay, what's another super emo lyric, since that's what we're talking about today? And I wanted to search Hawthorne Heights. Ohio is for lovers.
Oh my God. And I mentioned that earlier without even knowing.
But like, if I feel like most people, when they're asked like what's a super emo lyric, a lot of people go to this one. And if you want to do the one-liner, it's so cut my wrists and black my eyes.
Got my wrists and black my eyes.
Yes. If you want to do more, it's so cut my wrists and black my eyes so I can fall asleep tonight or die.
Oh my God.
Because you kill me.
Cue the head banging. Cue the head banging.
So, but cut my wrists and black my eyes. I feel like so many people go to that as like a super emo lyric. So I had to do that one today.
Yeah.
So Hawthorne Heights, Ohio's for lovers. Great song.
All I have to say, you won.
Yeah. I'm still not even clear which one you chose.
That makes two of us. Hold on. Let me look again. I'm going to go ahead and choose.
I mean, last week on our Instagram, I shared our honorable mentions too. So maybe we'll do an honorable mention for you this week as well on our post.
This whole lyric is so good. Can I just read you a little bit more of it?
Sure.
So it says, I hope that you look back before you go, because grace looks back before it starts to leave. It's a fight between my heart and mind. No one really wins this time. No one really wins this time. In the endless fight of grace and pride, I don't want to win this time.
Yeah, those are great lyrics.
And
I
it's
agree.
so emo.
I agree.
So
I mean, the rest of this too, I'll just say, so cut my wrists and black my eyes so I can fall asleep tonight or die because you kill me. You know you do. You kill me well. You like it too, and I can tell. You'll never stop until my final breath is gone. Like, that is emo.
So emo. Well, guess what? We both know how to read.
Yay! Okay, well, thank you for listening. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok because it's around.
Because TikTok still exists.
At the Emo Hour, send us some DMs and let us know if you're listening. And
tell us if you disagree with some of our takes on whether they're emo or not.
yes, exactly. And if you disagree with some of those website, whatever that council is, I disagree with. So
It's probably like a council of two people.
yeah,
Or a council of two people.
we are a council of two people, the Emo Hour Council.
And you are a counselor,
Yeah, I am.
right?
Different type of council.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, yay. Well, I hope you have a really great week.
Yes.
And we'll see you next week. And we'll be talking about a whole lot of happenings that are going on in the emo world.
Exactly.
'Cause there's a lot of stuff going on.
There is. We'll have lots to talk about next week. So thanks for listening.
And we'll see you next week.
All right. Bye.
Bye.